In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys about user input in Java. So before we get started, we need one important component, which is the util package, and from that package, we need the scanner class. As you can see, the S is capital, and usually in classes, the first letter is capital. So in this case, it's user, in this case, it's scanner. So without further ado, let's get started. So to accept any kind of user input in Java, you need to use a scanner. And the way you use a scanner is first you have to instantiate the scanner object. So you call the scanner and then you name it whatever you want. In this case, we're going to call it lowercase scanner with the lowercase s. And it's just best practice to do that with any kind of object in Java. So for example, if we're going to be making a dog object, you would say dog and then dog, but that's just for a later video. In today's video, it's all about scanners and user input. So scanner equals new scanner, and then within the parentheses you're going to say system dot in with a capital S, and then end that all with a semicolon, and that is how you call the scanner and instantiate it into the program. And of course, it's always best practice to close the scanner after you open it or after you call it. So scanner dot close, because once you open a file or something, you always need to close it. So in this case, same thing, you open the scanner, you need to close it, or else it could lead to unexpected errors. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's say we want to ask the user to enter their name, their age, and their weight. So first you would ask system.out.println, and you would say enter your name. So now when you enter your name, it just runs as it normally does, and okay, there we go. I don't know why I had some lag there, but once you run it, it just says enter your name, and that's all. Now you can't do anything. So moving on, to accept the user input, what do? We say string, because we need to store this in a string. So you call the kind of data type you want to use. In this case, it's a string. So string name, because that's what we want to call the variable. String name equals to scanner. Notice how we're using the lowercase s because we're using the name of the scanner. I have no idea why my PC is glitching, but don't worry about that. Scanner dot next. Oh my god, something terrible is going on. But scanner dot next line. So string name equals scanner dot next line, and then we want to do the same thing for our age. So we're gonna ask the user to enter your age, and then last but not least, we will do the same for their weight. So to accept age, we need an integer because we're going to be using a simple number. So we're going to use an integer data type. So int age equals to scanner dot next int, not next line, but next int, because we're using an integer. So next int. And then same thing for weight, but with weight it could have a floating point value or like a decimal basically. So instead of using int, because let's use int just so I can show you what would happen. Int weight equals to scanner dot next int. So let's see what would happen. We run the code, enter your name, Yusuf, enter your age, I'm 22, enter your weight, I am 88.8, and we get an error at Java line 15, which is here. Why do we get the error? Because input mismatch exception, because we're using a decimal in an integer, which is not allowed. So you would need to change this to double, and here you would say next double. And if we try it again, let's just say whatever, enter your age, whatever, enter your weight, whatever, and it works. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next point of the program. So say we want to use these values. So we can use them in a certain way. First of all, before I move on, if you want to type this, like if you want the user to start typing their input next to your like statement that you're asking, so enter your name, if you want this to be written here, you can say system.out.print instead of print line. So if I run the code, it will let me type it right next to it, as you can see right here. So moving on, system.out.println. Let's do that a couple times. So we're gonna say, in the first one we're gonna say hello, comma, and then we're gonna say plus name. Let's make that organized a little bit, and then we're gonna say you are space plus age years old, and then we are gonna say you are gonna say plus weight kg, and here we should specify that we want the weight to be in kg. So we're gonna say enter your weight in kg, just for clarification. And then if we run it again, what do we get here? So enter your name, my name is Yusuf, enter your age, 22, enter your weight in kg, I am 88.8, enter, hello Yusuf, you are 22 years old, you are 88.8 kilograms. So this is great. So you can actually do the same thing with Boolean data types. So you can say, let me just copy paste this real quick. So you can say, for example, are you alive? Question mark. And then you can say, just to specify, true / false. And here we're going to say Boolean, and then we're going to call the variable is alive, and we're going to say next Boolean. So are you alive, true or false? And let's say right here, you are alive. But here's the problem. This is gonna output one way or the other, whether we type true or false. Let me show you real quick. Let me just run through the code real quick and I'll show you. So name, whatever, age, whatever. Are you alive, true or false? True. It's gonna say you are alive. I should have put false just to show you, but I'll show you now. Enter your age. I'm not 12, but whatever. Are you alive or not? False. It's gonna say you are alive. So to fix this issue, and I should probably add a little space to this right here. But yeah, to fix this issue, we can do a simple thing, which is an if statement, and more on that later, but this is just a quick little introduction. If is alive. So basically, the parameter right here, this argument right here, it's gonna say, basically, Boolean, if you put it into an if statement, it's just gonna execute if it's true. If it's false, it's not gonna execute. So if this right here is true, what are we gonna do? So let's start with the curly braces, and then we're gonna system.out.println. We're gonna say you are alive. Yay. Okay, and else, so if you're not alive, then we want to execute this part of the statement, which is system.out.println, and let's just say rest in peace. So let's try and run it again. See what happens now. So enter your name, Yusuf. Enter your age, 22. 88.8 for my weight. And are you alive? Let's say false. So it's gonna say RIP because it's executing this part of the statement, because this is false, so it's like gonna execute the else part. But if we say true, let's see what happens. Age 88.8. Are you alive? True. I am alive. You're alive. Yay. Okay. So I just want to show you guys a quick little problem with Java and how you can fix it. So the problem is, let me demonstrate real quick. So here we have this, which is a string, and let's say we delete it and we paste it over here instead of up here. And if we run the code, there's going to be a problem. So it's going to say enter your age. I'm going to say 22, and as you can see right here, this just messed everything up. Like, I have no idea how to explain this. It just completely skipped enter your name, or that's actually a pretty simple explanation. It just skipped this one and it moved on to the next one, and now we continue on as if nothing happened. Now that's a problem because we never got to enter our name. So how can we fix that? This is a problem because we're using int before the string, and for some reason it does this problem. So if you want to fix it, you can do one thing, which is scanner dot next line semicolon, and then if you run it again, let's hope it works. 22, enter your name, Yusuf, 88, true, and it works. So if you have this problem, just scanner.nextLine. You don't need any input or whatever. Just it's kind of like a line break, you could say, but that's basically it. Just keep in mind. So I just want to show you guys one more thing. Here we have scanner.next. There's a kind of a problem with scanner.next. What's the problem? Let me show you. Basically, if I enter my age and then my name, let's say my name is Yusuf, and then I want to put my last name as well, so, or like my full YouTube channel name, so Yusuf Computer Science. This is the name of the channel at the time of recording. I might change it later, but yeah, okay, there's a problem. What's the problem? It's input mismatch exception. Why? Because I am talking too much, basically. So the problem here is because I'm saying .next, and .next only reads the next word. So if I say Yusuf, it works perfectly, right? But if I put Yusuf and then something else after my name, then that's a problem. So that's what the word next does. It only reads the next letter, or the next word. But if you say next line, then you can completely fix that problem and you don't have to worry about it. So it's kind of like the safer way to just use next line, whether you want to input more than one word or not, just in case. But that's just how Java works. So as a little exercise, you could say, we can do something, which is we want to calculate the area of a rectangle. So let's just let me comment all of this out. So how you can comment out multiple lines in Java is slash and then asterisk, and then you come to the end of it and you say asterisk and then slash, and that's how you can comment out multiple lines in Java instead of just putting the double slash every time. So to do that, to calculate the area of a square, here's what we need to do. So in a square, you only have one side that's equal to all four. So we're gonna change it up a little bit and say we're gonna calculate the area of a rectangle. So I declared 3 variables and they're all doubles. So we have double height, double width, and double area. So we're gonna ask the user to put in the numbers for these. So right now we can just instantiate them to 0, or we can just leave them as is, but it doesn't really matter. So let's instantiate all of it to 0. So they're all 0 right now. First we want to ask the user please, or let's just say enter the width, and then we can do the same for the height, and then at the end we can say the area is this, and then we're gonna say plus area, and then we want to say let's just say centimeters squared. Okay, and this is going to be height, so please enter the height. And then here we want to say, after this right here, we want to say that the width is going to be equal to scanner dot next double semicolon. And here we want to do the same thing, but for height. So let's change this to height, and that should be all. Oh, I completely forgot something. We need to calculate the area. So to calculate the area, of course, it's pretty simple. We're going to say area equals to height times width, or width times height, doesn't really matter, and semicolon, of course. And that should be it. I really hope we don't run into any issues right now. So let's stop this program that's already running. Let's start this new one. Okay, enter the width. Oh, here's a little problem. I said system.out.println, so it's gonna make me input the width down here. So if you want to fix this issue, I don't know if I addressed that before or not, you just do that. Just system.out.print. So here we have enter the width. So let's just say, I didn't do it for this one so you can see the difference, but yeah, enter the width, let's say 12.9. Enter the height, let's say 12.9. And this is the area. 12.9 times 12.9 equals this, apparently. I'm not sure, you can fact check that on your own, but that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed or learned something new. If you did, please like and subscribe, and as always, the full code will be down in the comments below.